As much as I love technology, I'm so grateful for it. There is a part of me that's scared, like, what will we become? You know, if, I can only imagine if something happened and the internet went down. We had no internet for 7 days, 1 week. What would happen? Welcome to Fridays with Tab and Chance. I am Tabitha Brown, and this is my husband.
I'm Chance, what's up?
Bring the beat in. Fridays with Tab and Chance. Ba-dum, bum, bum. Fridays with Tab and Chance. I thought you was finna give us.
Yeah, I thought it was too, but I hit that thumb and I was like, yeah, it's time to let that go.
Oh, welcome to Fridays with Tab and Chance, honey. Today, we're talking about something that we're all very familiar with. Honey, technology, social media, the good old internet. And how has it affected the human race, mankind, all of our lives? For good? For bad? Do we realize the difference, right? Let's talk about it. Where shall we start? How did we come up with this? There's so many different ways that we could spin this. We can start with positive, right? I think that we can say right now, technology and the internet has blessed us because y'all are watching on the internet, okay? You're listening on the podcast. We've been blessed by social media to bring awareness, to advertise, to make money and have new careers. It has absolutely been a blessing in our life. And I think that if used correctly, it can be a blessing to many people. I think it's a beautiful tool. I do, however, think it has given us access that we probably didn't necessarily always need, that has distracted us and caused trauma for us. And yeah, I think I can kind of leave it in those two places, distractions and trauma. And also has created wedges between a lot of people, right? Because I think that a lot of times people rely on like social media to check in on people instead of calling and really checking in on somebody, right? So they're like, oh, they doing good. And you just assume because of what they posted in 5 seconds, oh, that they doing all right because the picture look cute. Because where they at, oh, they must be having the time of their life. They must be good. So we fail to reach out to them. That's what I mean by that. So it has drawn a wedge in how we communicate. And, even texting. We text sometimes instead of calling to hear somebody's voice and really seeing like how they are, because we all can lie good behind a text message, but it's sometimes kind of hard to lie, like to hear somebody's voice. Sometimes you can know like when they're not really okay. So, let's talk about that. What you think?
I think, I agree. I think technology it creates conflict within me, the topic, as it pertains to like information. I think it's been great with, it's certain things that you can go, like, I know for me, I'm one of them YouTube University people. It helps in so many ways with doing things around the house, with me being able to do basic research on something. If I want to venture into something new, I can go on YouTube. If with my kids program, new trainings or new ideas for getting through to the kids on the court, I can go and I can actually study, things, from that app or technology. being informative, with like things and even in politics and even with like just Black history or civil rights, things of that nature, stuff that I come across, where people may need help collectively across the country, across the world. It connects us in a way that I can see, the positive definitely in that. But I've mentioned this before, that I think that too much information, things being too accessible, are the bigger concern for me. I feel like the technology has, I always say this, I feel like the social media, internet was the greatest, worst thing that ever happened to humans.
It's like a dual.
Dual.
That's good and
yeah,
bad.
For every negative thing you say, you can find a positive thing. For every positive thing, I can say a negative thing. And how you view the world and humanity, I guess you will weigh in one way or another on how you see if it's necessary or not. I like you are concerned about how much of our time is spent on it, but I don't want to be, what's the word? I can't be absent-minded to how even it's affected our life. It changed our life. It has given us a blessing, we've been blessed by it, with just with our life and the things we're able to do, primarily through social media. However, the negative part of that is that you have people. It can be a blessing where people feel like, because of our Fridays with Tab and Chance, that they know us, right? Yeah. And that's what we want to give to people. We want to make people feel like family. We want that's always our goal. But it's also can be a time where you like, wait a minute, man, I don't know you. That's the negative. It's like, hey, look, you're getting a little too comfortable. I don't know you. So in that aspect, it's just how you got to look at it. It's just how you choose to look at it. It's a lot of things that concern me about it. A lot of things that I'm happy about. But
do you think that because it's because we knew life without it versus life with it? I asked that because I was talking to Terrell the other day, Terrell Grice, and Terrell is, I think, 30, 31, something like that. But he, in our conversation, he was like, we was talking about the internet. He was like, I remember like in high school when it came out, like, and it became a thing. And I was like, oh my God. It was unheard of when we were in school. Like we knew nothing about the internet, when we were in high school. But then I look at Choice, and it was very early, it was elementary school for her that she started to like understand the internet and be on it. But for Quest, it is all he knows.
Yeah.
So their generation won't ever think, oh, this was the worst thing that ever happened to the world, because they don't know anything other. You know what I'm saying? So like I think back to like grandparents seeing you with your cell phone, like, what in the world? Why somebody need to have a phone with them when they leave the house? You gotta go focus and do your errands and all that stuff. Why would you need a phone? I remember my granddaddy having that conversation.
Yeah. And
I was pregnant with Choice. It was like it didn't make any sense to him. Like, you won't be distracted with a phone. Well, you can wait till you get back home to talk to whoever you need to talk to, right? So I'm wondering if it's because of what we were used to versus what we know now. Like, we have something to compare it to, where you have like Quest, when he grows up with like his thought will only be the internet, like how the world will continue to change, of course, but
I think Granddaddy was right. That's just my thinking. I think, and I'm gonna use that as an example. Today, the anxiety will kick in if somebody does not answer their phone.
Or if they lose it or don't have it.
For the person calling, we have now grown to expect to be able to contact people immediately
Yeah.
and not take into consideration that that person is away from you and should be away from you and able to focus on something other than you. And if you don't get a text message or a response immediately, it creates something inside of us. So I'm with Granddaddy on that. I don't like being so easily accessible. I don't like the expectancy of being so easily accessible. Nor do I like that somebody thinks that I should be that. You get what I mean?
Yeah. Except for me, though.
Even with you at times, like even it's one of those to where it's like because we have become reliant on the technology, right? And all jokes aside, because we've become so reliant on the technology, I don't sometimes realize that you are working. You are my wife.
Yeah.
However, your undivided attention, even if you're not working, I should know. If I can't find the aspirin in the cabinet, right, man, figure it out. If you Tab know where the aspirin is, let me text her. She'll see it pop up on the phone and she'll send somebody. Or you get what I mean? There was a time to where it was like, it's okay. Like it creates an unnecessary anxiety because we've become so reliant on it. The other
Creates
thing,
a laziness.
A laziness too, right? And the other thing that is like very, it's a big topic with kids. And I hear it and the first thing I think about is technology, and I hear people talk about it, is that the parks and the recs are suffering because no kids are outside. Technology of the PlayStations, the game systems, the Oculus, right? The Oculus being, and all of these things are great within reason, but I like the Xbox, I like the PlayStation, I like all of this stuff, right? However, where my concern is, and with this new generation is, I think with even as parents and people who are from that world where we went outside and you did things, you can kind of relax when you hear your kid enjoying something and away from you, a tablet, a game system, that you forget the importance of going outside, going to the park, socializing and listening to them socialize with a headset on and talking to their friends, or with an Oculus moving around is not the same as physical activity, going out, kicking a ball, throwing a ball, socializing, getting into it with their friends, competing, right? Parks are empty.
Yeah.
Like the park, where we grew up at in Eden, they don't have any more sports at all at the park, at Bridge Street. They don't have no more, right? None at all. Which when I heard that, it kind of hurt me. I'm like, man, but because of the technology, or I blame the technology. I think it's because of the technology and a thinking that comes along with how great the technology is. Because it is pretty, when you look at it, it's outstanding technology. But I think that because it makes things so convenient for us, we have become lazy in our thinking and our forward thinking into how it can directly affect our kids and the benefits that we got from it, right? We only looking at it as, man, I think a lot of us are only looking at it as, man, look at what they're able to do that we couldn't do. And looking at our past as being limited. But sometimes I think limitations, they shape us. I really do. I think it gives us a sense of resilience, and I concern sometimes even with Quest with that. That's why I'm always like, nah, let's go outside and do something that you don't ordinarily do. Let's throw the football. Let's go out and do something, right? Because of that.
I think that, well, two things. One, I think the pandemic sped up our dependency. And I think the pandemic created more children inside than outside, right? I think we were really on a track to it becoming that anyway, but when the pandemic happened, they were like, everybody got to be in the house. We started allowing our kids to be on their tablets and stuff all during the day because that's how they were talking to their friends. And, especially if your kid didn't have a phone, it's like, oh, you can get on this game and y'all can chat and y'all can play, and oh, your work is on the computer, your work is on your tablet. There's a chat in there with your friends, y'all doing work. it became a whole way of life for a whole year. Some people never went back. Well, yeah, but I'm saying for that 1 year before they did the hybrid situation back into class. Some people never went back to school. Some people said, you know what, I want to keep my child at home, and they're still on a tablet the majority of their day, doing their work, interacting with their friends. And it created this dependency even more, right? And a lack of communicating in the house. I think the other part that I was thinking about was, to your point, is it creates a limit on our mindset, right? I just thought about, while you were talking about that, when we were growing up, we would hear about new inventions all the time because there was no internet. People were having to use their brain and expand it and come up with ideas. Now, most time when you hear a new invention, it's something still pertaining to technology, like the internet.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It's not like a whole lot of like, oh, somebody, I mean, a lot of things were discovered that we already have, but it still seems like it's always stemmed from the internet versus somebody created a new, I don't know, something that'll help your couch, keep its form or whatever the case may be. It feels like technology is outgrowing the brain.
Yeah.
Right? And so the brain is is not being used as much because we're not having to do our own research anymore. We got a question, we can go to Google, put the question in, and instantly get the answer. It ain't no reading, going to the encyclopedia, going to the library, getting the encyclopedia.
While you were saying
the process
that,
ain't there no more.
While you were saying that, I was thinking to myself, I'm guilty of that for my books. The technology reads it for me.
Yeah, you don't even
now.
read. You just listen to it.
I'm like, hey, no, I'm just going to listen to it. I'm turn my phone on and listen to my book.
Even children, I was, and I know this with Quest, but I was like, look, I had my little parent chats and stuff and pages I always go to. So many parents are complaining how their kids' handwriting is so terrible because they barely write now. They submit their homework on the computer. Kids' handwriting is so bad, like they ain't even teaching kids cursive no more. Kids ain't even gonna know how to sign a signature, right? Like everything is done on technology. And as much as I love technology, I'm so grateful for it. There is a part of me that's scared, like what will we become? If I can only imagine if something happened and the internet went down. We had no internet for 7 days, 1 week. What would happen? What would happen? Oh, even 24 hours where people couldn't use their phone to FaceTime. They had to go back to like landlines, calling people. Do you even have a landline in your house? Right? Do people even have a landline anymore? Everybody got a cell phone. What would happen to us? Would we know how to survive? How would you do your work? Right? I think about that even for me. How would we work if we can't send emails? If we can't, like the world has been created to revolve around technology and we are dependent on it. So again, I love it and I'm grateful for it and I use it every day. We're using it right now all together. But it does make me wonder, like, what will we evolve into?
It's been concerning for me.
Excuse me.
For a while. It's something, and this is what triggered it. I realized one day, Quest sent me a text message.
Was he upstairs?
He was upstairs.
He didn't did me like that too.
He sent me a text message, and I went to go send him a text message back. And my son is literally across the house. And I stopped and I was like, man, let me get up and go talk to him. And me and him had a conversation about, like, man, get up to come and talk. Don't do that. Don't send me, if you need something, get up. Don't be lazy. Then no sooner than I said that and walked away from him, I picked up my phone and I felt guilty. I felt like
it's a way of life.
I'm doing this in front of him. So he is only picking up what he sees me do.
And the rest of the world.
So I started to kind of pay attention as I go through these phases with the cell phones. It happened one time before years ago when your dad was here, and we went to Olive Garden, and I just kind of picked my head up, and it was everybody from ages of probably the ages of 2 all the way up to 70 years of age. And I remember looking around the room, and everybody had a tablet or a phone, and they were out to eat is what we called it. You know, it's like, we're going out to eat. And I remember that being a thing. Like, if you got to go out to eat, you was going out to eat so you can enjoy each other's company. And I remember that night with us and thinking to myself, like, this is scary. Nobody is enjoying it. And when you see 2-year-olds doing what I'm talking about 70-year-olds, older people, they're on their phones. That's concerning. That's concerning for me. That was concerning for me. And then I started to try to do little things on my own. I wasn't saying it out loud. I was trying to do things on my own to I don't like the idea of being addicted to anything. I've always been that way. So I'll test myself and say, I'm not gonna touch my phone for 2 days. Just small task, right? And in that 2 days, it was the most trying thing. And I'm one of those people that can tell you I take pride in being disciplined and not having an addictive personality, not doing things because of peer pressure or the things that you learn at an early age. But this one thing had a hold on me, and I don't like it. And you know what I mean? And still to this day, it's something where I will do social media. I will deal with technology, but I will oftentimes just on a random be like, no, I'm not doing it I'm gonna set a goal. And it'll be like the craziest thing. I'm going 1 whole month and I ain't posting nothing on Instagram. I ain't getting on Instagram. And it is not easy. It's not easy, but I'll do it. And in the beginning, I did it, and I got so upset. The first day, I remember it was about 3 or 4 months ago. Like I said, I do them periodically. I'll do it it's kind of like a reboot. Like, I'm a reboot, and I just need to know that I can go without it. And about 3 or 4 months ago, I said, all right, I saw something on social media and I was like, this is disturbing. Nope, I'm not gonna be relying on this. I'm about to detox. 3 hours later. Not thinking about it. And while doing this, I got so mad. Debated deleting the app. Like, I'm gonna delete this app off my phone. That's a little extreme. I ain't gonna delete the app off my phone. Yeah. Right? Sat it down. Made it through the day. Next day, made it halfway through the day. Not even thinking about it, right? Right before I'm about to go to bed. Just while watching something that I've been wanting to watch. One of my new shows that came back on. I can't watch a show without watching my phone at the same time.
Like a natural thing you just wouldn't grab.
It's just a natural thing, and I'm watching it and not watching it. To the point where I really had to, like, one of the hardest things I've ever had to do. Like, I really just had to say, I'm putting this thing over here, and I can feel myself being drawn to it.
Yeah.
Made it 3 weeks.
Yeah.
Made it 3 weeks without, with the
without
limitations.
Social media.
Yeah, with the limitations that I had put on myself for. And I bring that up to just say how serious it is and how that we're not in discussing it, and me saying what I'm saying, that I'm not excluded from some of the things that come along with the technology or the things that I'm concerned about and where they stem from for me. But here recently, that's one of the practices that I have. Is there anything that you do? Do you ever think like that, or do you ever say, hey, because your situation is different.
Yeah.
90, what would you say, 95% of your work is associated with social media.
Well, a lot of it, yeah. Maybe like 80%, but a lot of it is work for me, which I think makes it easier for me.
Well, and not just social media, but technology,
technology,
I guess, too.
yeah. But I think it also makes it easy for me to be like, want to put it down. Because like I got to post, I got to check numbers, all like analytics. Like I have to send in reports. Like I'm doing all this stuff on there. So then there's some days where somebody be like, oh, did you see this on Facebook? Like I ain't even been on there other than to post.
Yeah.
I'm on there to work. So I'm not looking at it. You know what I'm saying? So, but I do, in the mornings, I go on and I'm looking to see like, oh, what's new? It's almost like the news. It's how you get your updates. But I think for me, because it is work, I don't really be like, oh, I can't get on there today because I know I got to get on there to work. But I am mindful of what I look at.
Yeah.
What I think is the most disturbing thing for me is how much trauma is on the internet, and what technology has given us a lot of trauma. And my fear is that we see so much trauma now. Like I remember there was a time we never ever, the majority of us had never seen someone die, right? Like, or be killed. And now the majority of us can say, oh yeah, I actually seen somebody be shot or suffocated or killed on social media. You know, even seeing like the trauma of war, we would hear about it. You might even see some flashes of stuff on the news growing up, but you would never see people raw footage, bodies blown apart, or babies and children dying. Like we never saw that, and it's becoming a thing that where we're seeing it so much that as a human being we're becoming desensitized. Like I feel my heart aches for it, but I remember there was a time where I couldn't even, like I would have to turn away. But now it's like when it pops up, I'm like, oh man, I don't want to see that. But I don't turn away. I can scroll past it. But there was a time where like I wouldn't even be able to see it. But it being so normalized in your feeds or on TV or wherever now, it's like, I know what it is, right? And I think that's a scary thing. Because to me, I feel like the more you become desensitized to death and rage and war, the more it's easy for you to harm somebody.
It's likely to happen, yep.
You know what I'm saying? It also feels like it ain't that bad when it is. It's terrible. You know, that's how, children taking guns to school that they find in their parents' house or their family member's house and shoot somebody. Because it almost feels like a game, or well, they see it on social media, like it ain't that serious, but it is. And so I think that while I say that these things are very serious, and on the other side of that, social media and technology is great, I think we all have a sense of responsibility in using it and what we share or what we're feeding. Awareness is great, and I do believe that we did need more awareness, especially with so many injustices in the world. We all need to have heightened awareness to a certain level. That's my own opinion. To keep our mental okay. I think that we're at an all-time high for mental health issues. People are depressed. They are having major anxiety. They're in panic mode because we've been subject to things that our brain was never meant to process, in my opinion. And once we see it, we can't unlearn it, right? We can't unsee it. It's in there. And I think that while there's a desensitizing happening, there's still a trauma that we're reliving in our brain that's causing like the panic or the anxiety or the depression or the sadness. It's a lot of people that are empaths in the world, like myself, like we feel pain from other people. We can see it. It makes us emotional. It saddens us, right? So I think we just got to be more responsible, but we also got to be accountable for what we do for ourselves and our family. Like I got to hold myself accountable, but like Tab, don't look at this. Don't allow your mind to go into a place that could be harmful for you. intentional about what I'm seeing as best as I can, intentional about what we're allowing our kids, the time we allow our children to be with technology versus also being intentional about, hey, make sure they have some human interaction, even with you, right? There's some parents that's their parenting is letting their kid be on, not attacking anyone's parenting, but we got to be mindful. Like, have we talked to our child today? Have we sat down with them and had a conversation? Or have they been on their tool all day? When they come home from school, they're at school way more than they're at home during school year, right? If they're in the building, then they come home for a couple of hours to eat, do homework, and get ready for bed. They might have 1 or 2 hours of free time. Are you included in that? I think we have to be mindful of those things. Like, we got to make sure that we are intentional with making sure that we don't allow technology to be the driving force of our relationships with everything. I guess that's just, if that makes sense what I'm saying. Don't allow it to make us all lazy with loving each other, with having interaction with each other, with seeing each other. Although we do use this as a great tool to see each other sometimes, because thank God for it. But when we have the ability to touch each other and to see each other and actually call instead of texting, to make us all feel seen and loved and heard and found and understood, let's try to do that. That's all I'm saying when it comes to that.
Be mindful too of the, you named almost everything. I mentioned, you touched on everything that I was thinking of, but the attention span is what I was trying to get at earlier.
It's been reduced.
It's been reduced. And why do I bring that back up? Because I think sometimes that we will lose sight when you put that device in your kids' hands. You're okaying them to not pay attention for long spans of time. The average videos and things, you have some that are longer on the YouTube or whatnot, but most of that stuff is 90 seconds. Some of it, 45 seconds?
Yeah, 60 to 90.
So then when they go in the classroom and the teacher tells you the feedback is that they can't retain or they're not attentive, or you got to remember what we're teaching them at home. And even with us, I find myself when I was mentioning about me watching a show, but still my attention span is affected. That's what I noticed, and what I was aggravated about is like that I've been waiting all year for this show to come on. Or I've been waiting all day for this game to come on, the season to start. But I'm watching the thing that I supposedly love the most while watching the phone. Yeah. My attention span. It's either my attention span is limited or I have grown, there's an attachment with this thing to where I feel like I'm missing something. Either way, it's something wrong with both of those. Yeah. Right? So something to keep in mind, when you're thinking about your kids, because they're, even if while you're with them and you're talking to them, dealing with them, teaching them, loving on them, you got to be mindful that the phone does not take precedence, or the technology does not take precedence over your kid because they're watching it. I think sometimes we forget that they need our undivided attention, and how they define it. That could be differently than what you think. But
you might need to create a phone box. Maybe we should do that too. Like certain times throughout the day, everybody know at this hour the phone go in the box. Yeah, and we have 30 minutes to 1 hour with. Yeah,
one of my parents told me in the program told me that when they get home, the entire family, when they get home, phones go in a certain area and they don't come back out at a certain time. They're there.
That's great.
Until the next day. All the phones go in there. And
like at night, everybody put the phone on the charger. We do that, but now we sleep.
Yeah, everybody's phone. And he was like, with his son, he comes in and it's like, now he don't get his phone after 6 o'clock. When he come in, 6 o'clock, that phone goes in there. And he knows that every night I'm checking that phone. Yeah. Or he expects me to, and that phone goes in that box, and he don't get it until he wakes up and he goes back to school. And I thought then that was a great idea. Why I didn't do it, I don't know. Right. I should have did it. But
it
just
is
some things to think about.
Absolutely. And to your point with the whole attention span, it's so true. I notice so many people, children, adults, and I pay attention to this. I don't know why I pay attention to it, but I notice, like if I say, oh, look at this video, they tap the screen to see how long it's gonna be. They tap the screen and be like, okay, they'll watch, and while they're watching, they tap the screen again to see how much longer. How much longer is it going?
How long?
Is this guy? Does this have to hold my attention? What else is it that you got to do?
I've done it.
Yeah.
I've done it with you. I've done it with other people, to where it is when you're talking to me, I'm like, get to it, get to it, get to it, get to it, and then I'll think to myself, why am I trying to?
What's the rush?
Why am I rushing this person?
Yeah.
In my head, I'm not saying it out loud, but I'm like, okay, get to the point, get to the point. And I think that's because of technology. I think that's because of the social media thing, to where it's like I have, and I've seen people do it to me, to where it's like, hurry up and get to the meat and potatoes of it.
Yeah.
Because we've been wired that way to now get to the meat and potatoes of it because I wanted to.
Right.
And I've joked with you about it being scatterbrained, to where there's so many topics now when you're dealing with individuals. Like, you come in and talk to somebody and you'll say, hey man, I like them shoes. Hey, did you see this? Hey, did you see that? Did you do that? And I'm still processing. I thought you was complimenting my shoes. I didn't get to respond on that. Where is that coming from? My opinion, Jordans. Oh man, they go a golf ad. Oh, it's like that's how the brain is being wired to process things. You get that 90 seconds, I'm gonna talk about that, and then we're gonna talk about this, and we're gonna talk about that.
Well, I've been doing that to you for a long time before social media.
It was a thing when it was just you.
Oh, but now you're saying other people.
That's
because as women, we be multitasking.
Nah, but see, it ain't just a woman thing. It ain't one. What I'm noticing and what's concerning for me is that it is a thing now, to where we can't sink our teeth on one topic for too long. You cannot sink your teeth on one topic, and it's partially why I look forward to talking to certain people who. And when I think about it, this is God honest truth. This is JR is not one of those people. We can sink our teeth into a topic. Everybody else that I'm thinking of, you can see the aggravation or the loss of interest, right, in what used to be just, hey man, let's just really have a discussion about this thing, right? No,
I think
the
if you're
average person
engaged.
but that's the thing. I think is messing with the engagement is messing with the engagement, to where you saying, let's focus. I mean, we can talk for more than 90 seconds about a topic without it being, that's why we're dragging on or beating a dead horse. You know what I mean? We can talk about it out in the public while dealing with people, with parents, with kids. I'm talking about all walks of life. What I notice is that there is no sinking in. There is no getting into it. It's just like the phones. But
yeah, I agree to a certain extent. Just because I know that I can be talking to you, but also on the other side of my brain, I'm like, okay, what question need for school? What I'm gonna cook for dinner? Like, that's just a normal mom, wife. I've been like that for a long time before social media, and I can be talking to you. You know how you always joke with me about it. Like, hey, babe, you got your watch on today, didn't you? And you know what time we're going to go to the thing? You be like, hey, babe, I thought we was talking about my watch. Yeah, but I done passed that. I'm moving on, right? That's just how I think. But also, I do also run multiple businesses. So my brain is always moving. I think some people are wired differently. So I don't ever want people to confuse that with what he's talking about. Yeah, because there's two different things. So, well, we used technology today, though, didn't we? And we appreciate it. Listen, this is not I'm so sorry if y'all hearing my stomach growl the way I don't know why it's growling so bad. But see how
she did that?
But Tiff, it was loud, right? See, Tiff can hear it. It was very loud.
She could have buffed it out.
I don't think so. But while we have, said all of this, this is not a a bash on technology, right? We absolutely do need it, right? And are grateful for it. And it is useful. And it's an amazing tool, internet, social media, all different types of technology. But I think what we both have said and are in agreement with and are trying to make clear is let's be responsible with it. Let's hold ourselves accountable with it. Let's make it work for us, not us work for it, if that makes sense. Because right now I feel like in a lot of ways we all can be a slave to technology, and we don't want to do that. We don't want it to control us. We should be the ones that are in control of it. And so that's my thought. That's my thought on it.
I agree.
You agree?
I agree.
Very good. That's it. Until the next time, honey, y'all go about y'all business and have the most amazing day. But even if you can't have a good one, don't you dare go messing up nobody else's here. Honey, very good. All right? Very good. I would say like this, subscribe to this. What do you say on all the stuff? Is that what you say? Y'all don't forget to like it, subscribe to the channel, tell a friend. If you're listening to the podcast, honey, tell somebody. Y'all know Tab and Chance be talking about technology on there. They mean well and they love y'all. Y'all follow them and stuff. Anywho, that's it. Stay focused. Bye, y'all. Love you. Thank y'all for watching. And don't forget to click here for more episodes.
And don't forget to subscribe to the channel.
Very good.